Welcome to Saying Yes Again,
a podcast about second chances, real love, and opening your heart after heartbreak.
We're your hosts, Dr. Lisa
and Tony,
a midlife couple who found love after divorce. And now we're here to share our story.
And to remind you that it's never too late to say yes again.
So put on your headphones and listen closely, because your next yes could be the one that changes everything. Welcome back to the Saying Yes Again podcast. I'm Dr. Lisa.
And I'm Tony. This is the podcast where we talk about love, relationships, and finding connection again later in life.
Yes, especially for those of us who have lived a little, experienced a few plot twists in our life, and still believe that love is possible.
And today we're talking about a question we hear all the time from people in our community.
Yes, at our events and conversations we have with our friends, people stopping us on the street, and messages from listeners. And what's that question, honey?
Everywhere. Why is it so hard for great singles to find each other?
Yes, because when we look around, there are so many amazing people out there. We've met so many amazing singles.
We have.
So why aren't y'all hooking up?
We had no idea, but we're going to talk about it in our podcast today, right, babe?
Yes.
Successful, kind, interesting, emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
All of that.
These are all the characteristics of the great people and the amazing people who we have met out there. But yet somehow, again, they're still single and wondering why they keep missing each other.
Yes. So today we're going to unpack that question and explore what might really be happening in the dating world after 40.
Yes, because there's something going on in the dating world after 40.
Definitely.
So one thing that we've noticed is that many of the best singles aren't actually in the places where people expect to meet them, right?
Okay. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Exactly. A lot of great people aren't hanging out in bars and dating apps all day.
Exactly. After 40, most of us have lives, right? We've built businesses, or we're building businesses. We have careers. We're raising families. We're traveling. We're working on ourselves. So we have a lot going on.
So what we used to do when we were in our 20s or early years is quite different from what we do now, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, or they've simply gotten comfortable with their own lives.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and I could attest to that.
Comfortable with their own lives.
You start getting into a groove, a routine. You get comfortable in the way that your life is going. You're happy sometimes with the point of where you are. So yeah, this is where we are in our lives sometimes.
That definitely applies to me. I got very, very comfortable and didn't realize that I was in this certain box of comfortability.
Yes.
And wanted to meet somebody.
Exactly.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And again, we've built these lives a lot of times, that, again, we enjoy.
Yeah. So this means they're not desperately searching for a partner the way people might in their 20s. I alluded to that earlier. The way we used to seek relationships or partners in our 20s at parties or the skating ring or whatever is far different from where myself at the tender age of 59 would pursue or look for a person, right?
Yeah.
So we have to update, where we are looking for a compatible person or a mate.
And sometimes even, I think when we were younger too, a lot of times we would be connected to other people through our friendship or through our friend circle.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So who like, hey, I know this great guy, or hey, I know this great girl, right? So that doesn't happen so much anymore as well.
Those were the days, right?
Yes. So that also means, again, that we're not just putting ourselves sometimes in the environments where we can easily access people, who might be of a similar time in their life and a similar age group.
So basically, we end up with all these great individuals living full and complete lives, but rarely crossing paths.
Yes. Imagine that. Not crossing paths.
Rarely crossing
Even
paths.
for us, I mean, we've told our story how we met, on a dating app, and had it not been for that, we would have never crossed paths, even given the fact that we lived in close proximity to each other.
She is almost in my backyard, and I would have never have met her because we weren't hanging. Now we realize or have learned that we weren't hanging in the same social circles or
Yeah.
attending the same events or whatever. I really baked my whole life was go to work, go home, watch YouTube, whatever. So there's no way we'd have met one another.
Yeah.
Just to think that my buddy had to like just beat me down to get on the dating app.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
end result, so we have to update our
Exactly.
circles and the way we meet and touch bases with people, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And another thing I think that we hear from singles in midlife is actually something really interesting,
What's
right?
that? What's
So
that?
they say they want a relationship,
Mhm.
but they also want to protect their peace.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. It's all about the peace when you get into this sweet spot of 40 years of age and older. And once you find that peace, you become very protective of it.
Yeah.
Do not upset a woman's peace. Do not upset a woman's peace. Just navigate the whole situation and fit in there real nicely and let her maintain her peace.
Yeah.
I have to let this one maintain her peace or else, right?
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
Well, but it's it's real, it's a real thing, so because thinking about everything that you've been through for the most part, whether it's a divorce or a loss or a heartbreak, or you just sort of, became comfortable with your singleness, right? Most people learn how to create that peaceful life for themselves.
Mhm. Mhm. Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
It's the same way that I learned to, you know, have a peaceful life for myself.
Yeah.
My little go to my one buddy's house in Atlanta, in the whole wide world, go to work, you know? Very rarely did I deviate from
Mhm.
that.
Yeah. So when someone new enters your life, then you kind of really start to evaluate them differently because you're like, is this person going to come in and just upset my whole piece? Upset everything that I've sort of structured right from myself.
And why do we even have to think about it or approach it from that perspective, babe?
Yeah.
Is this person gonna upset my whole piece?
Yeah. I know.
You know?
So we have to do a whole mindset shift.
Yeah, I
You're
might
right.
be the anecdote that you need. How about that?
Oh, God.
You know,
Making
I'm
me
just
laugh.
saying I might be the anecdote that you need, so let's not be pessimistic about it, right?
Okay,
You know?
yes. So you were the antidote. But that makes people, I think, very cautious about dating. Again, just not wanting to upset sort of what they've considered to be some sort of balance, that they have going on, right, in their
And
life.
that's understandable, that's
Yeah.
understandable, the apprehension. So you're asking, will this person add to my life or disrupt it? And I can say today, what's today? March 8th, March 9th? That my baby has definitely disrupted my life in a good way.
I was gonna say disrupt.
In a good way. So,
Yes, definitely. So that's true. We could take disruption and look at it as positive or negative, right?
yeah.
And sometimes a little shaking up is
Oh,
nice.
yeah. A
Yeah.
little shaking up is good.
Yeah. So again, we talked about, that mindset shift. So that mindset has to change again when you're starting to approach relationships later in life.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about, what might be another challenge that some people may be having.
I think another challenge is something we don't talk about enough, and that's routines.
Mm,
Would you happen to have a few routines
I
that you had
do.
to kind
Yeah.
of modify when somebody came into your life, babe?
Mm.
Hmm?
I think so. I mean, there's certain routines I had, but even I think the way we spend time together had to change, or the way that I spent what I would consider my time off, right? Changed a little bit.
Oh, did it?
So we had to adjust to each other's work schedules,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
Mm-hmm.
you work on the weekends or on Saturdays rather. So I kind of had to adjust to that. My work schedule that I have, seeing that, being an entrepreneur is just crazy, the hours are
24
all
hours a day, 7 days a week.
it's not 24
Can you
7 days a week.
please pencil me in?
So yeah, so we had to, I think change, or I had to change routines a little bit. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
but it's a good thing.
It is. By the time sometimes again people reach their 40s and 50s, they've established their lifestyle, what that looks like, what time
Mhm.
of year they vacation, again, work schedule, when they
Yes.
hang out with their friend groups, all the things, when they work out, right? So, yeah. So sometimes that has to sort of just shift a little bit
All those things have to change, right? For the good.
for the good.
But this basically means they're not naturally expanding their social circles the way they did earlier in life,
Yeah.
right? Right?
Exactly. Think about it. So in your 20s, you might meet people like we mentioned before through like school or parties or your
Activities,
friend groups or the activities that you were involved in,
sporting
right? Or
events.
going out to these spontaneous, events and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in midlife, your world can become smaller.
Yeah.
A lot of your friends have moved on. What life looks like for them has changed drastically from what you'd like to have happen in your life. So sometimes you just have to say, goodbye to that,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Or, like we mentioned in one of our earlier podcasts, my friend circle was one way when I was married previously. And after my divorce, it
Changed.
changed,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So your world does shift. And like you said, it definitely can become smaller as well.
hmm
Yeah. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's just what happens in terms of
it's just more,
evolution into midlife.
it's just more focused,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That's
Absolutely.
Now, this means the opportunity to randomly meet someone compatible becomes rarer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It becomes rarer.
It definitely becomes rare. Yeah. So we have to be intentional then about thinking about what those environments are again, that we can sort of meet people, where we can meet
Yeah.
people.
I mean, like for example, just to piggyback on that, the winery, City Winery, Chateau Alon, these are things that she likes. Book clubs,
Mhm.
the garden. I have come a long way, honey, and I have to say this on the podcast. I've come a long way. I hadn't been a gardener my
Wow.
whole life, and now I am actively watching you garden.
Watching.
I'm
Okay, that's the
participating.
optimal word,
I'm
watching.
participating,
Okay.
right?
Mhm. Yes. So there's another layer I think that we should talk about as
Yes.
well, that can be a little challenging when it comes to singles meeting each other. And that is, for a lot of us, again, who have experienced divorce, heartbreak, or loss, we already basically experienced something that didn't last or that didn't work out, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it creates sometimes this fear factor of, am I going to make the wrong choice again? Especially if in the case of it being like a divorce, right? So am I going to make the
Yes.
wrong choice again?
Yes.
So I think that's another layer that sometimes happens.
Yeah, I mean, for lack of a better term, that's a devastating thing to go through. A divorce, becoming widowed, or just being single on a long term basis. That's a real difficult
Mhm.
thing to go through, and that experience changes how people approach love.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. You start to definitely think about it more. You're more thoughtful about who you allow into your life because who wants to experience that again, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're really cautious
Mhm.
about who you allow in your life. And to that point, I had to endure an entire case study before Lisa and I became real, real close.
Here we
What
go.
are my five things? Where do I see myself in 5 years? What's important to myself or whatever? Yeah, I had to go through all of that
Mhm,
and a bag of chips, right?
mhm. You sure did.
But basically, they're asking deeper questions like, are our values aligned? Do you want the same lifestyle? And are we emotionally compatible?
Mhm.
That's all she was saying.
Exactly.
So whenever you hear that from our mature sisters out here, brothers, that's basically what they're saying.
Right. We
You
just
know,
wanna know,
are we
like,
aligned?
yeah, can this go anywhere? Because if not, then, we're in our 40s and 50s. There's not a whole lot of time. We don't wanna waste time if
Exactly.
it's not, yeah, if those kind of things are not addressed or in alignment, like you said.
But Lisa, I'd also like to add that a lot of gentlemen like myself, find these same things important to them.
Yeah.
Does she have romantic market value? Is she versatile? Is she solid? Is she financially responsible, etc.?
Mhm.
And is she easy on the eyes?
It's I
Easy on the eyes.
cannot.
That's important.
Ay, ay, ay.
But anyway.
So I think the questions, and being very thoughtful is actually a good thing, right?
Hmm.
Because we're learning from the process. We're learning from experience of what happened before, you
Hmm.
know?
I mean, but you have to watch the degree that you allow some of that previous relationship to spill over into a future relationship because it can really slow down the process of a newfound love, a newfound romance or likeness or whatever. So we're just saying be
Mhm.
cognizant of that. We're not perfect
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
We kind of had to.
Yeah. And people may hesitate a little longer than they have or would have, in the past. Again, just for fear of opening up and fear of making the wrong choice again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that hesitation can be mistaken for lack of interest. That leads me to when we were getting to know one another. I couldn't understand why she was so busy or wasn't accepting my calls when I wanted her to accept my calls. So out of fear, I chose to like discontinue my pursuit. I think it went on for about a month and a half, 2 months. I got this inclination just to call you. And when you call, we had dinner within 24, 48 hours, and the rest is history. The rest
Mhm.
is history.
Mhm.
So we can't overanalyze or allow whatever we've been through in the past to affect our future, or else she and I will not have been married for how long, honey? How long have we been
Almost 2
married?
years coming up in
Almost
June.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Hmm.
you're right. I think it's important for people not to jump to conclusions
No.
and not to assume things, right? When you may not be getting the response that you want, just reach out, you know?
Yeah.
Because maybe that person, like you said, was busy. Maybe something came up in their family. Maybe something important, happened. Um, so yeah, you just definitely want to just
Right.
find out what's going on.
And that's exactly what happened with Lisa. It was her profession that had her preoccupied. So it wasn't that she wasn't interested or whatever. So we re-engaged, we reconnected. We had some really intriguing conversation, and I requested that we get together within 24 hours. We did, and the
Yeah,
rest is history.
and the rest is history.
But again, the truth might be that they're simply not in the same environment. So,
Mhm.
again, what those environments or circles look like when you were 20 are far different again from our 40s, 50s, etc. The social settings, the business functions, right? The church functions, the library, as I mentioned, the winery, or
Yeah, networking events,
book
I
clubs,
mean
networking events.
mhm. Yeah,
These are the different things that mature gentlemen and women are starting to gravitate to when they're 40 or older.
mhm.
So you're not going to meet them at the ice cream social, right? We need to
Or
go
at the
to,
club.
yes, we need to go to the
Yes.
city winery,
So great singles are everywhere, right?
grocery store.
Yeah, so if you're not crossing paths, you'll never obviously meet anyone. So you have to
Right.
put yourselves in the place where you're gonna cross the path of someone who would be in your, in your group in terms of your age
Yes.
and life experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we believe that environments really do matter.
And when you bring people together intentionally, something different always happens.
Yes.
And while those things are happening, just remember it's okay for the gentleman to approach the lady. It's okay for a woman to approach a gentleman,
Yeah.
right?
And I think that is absolutely true. There are no rules, right, to
No.
engagement. It could go either way. And I think when people are in the right environment, and they're intentional about being there, like you said, things do happen. People start to talk, they relax,
Yes.
they discover how much they may have in common with someone.
Yes.
They start to realize that they enjoy being around other people.
Hmm.
So, and it usually kind of pushes them to kind of get out there more. So that's kind of, I think, what we experienced
Yeah.
recently at our
Yeah.
event.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about there was a couple gentlemen there that seemed like they were really apprehensive about approaching the ladies. And from what I could assess, I don't know if you assessed it, the lady came across as traditional women. They wanted the men to be the aggressor, etc. And eventually, the gentlemen start to engage some of the ladies in
Mhm,
conversation. And I think they were really surprised that they were
mhm.
being receptive. I do know, Lisa, that there is one, almost as if we're playing cards, one and a possible still communicating after our mature mixer.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's fantastic. That makes me feel really good about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
And because we know that environments matter, that's one of the reasons why we started to have these mature mixers. So we had our
definitely,
first one February 28th at Love You Brunches, and it was amazing.
it
I
was
mean, we had
amazing.
a good mix of people. The
Yes,
people who were there were very, engaging, had great conversations with each
yes, they
other.
were.
Even some friendships were made.
Hmm.
So I think it was a great event all in all.
Yeah, and I didn't tell you, Lisa, but I got someone in North Carolina communicated with me about the next mixer and when we were going to have one. So I have to keep them informed
Yeah,
because Lisa and
definitely.
we want to bring folks together. Whatever that looks like, we really want to do that. So the mature mixers is an excellent non-confrontational way of bringing people in close proximity so
Mhm.
they can rub elbows, right?
Yes, most definitely. So stay connected with us so you'll know when the next one is. It'll be coming soon. So if you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you follow the Saying Yes Again podcast. It's on all podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeart. It's also on YouTube in a video
Yes.
format if you like video, so you don't miss any upcoming episodes.
We also have our own website, sayingyesagain.com. And we also have a Saying Yes Again community. So if you'd like to be a part of that community, please come on and join. We'd really like to have you, right, babe?
Yeah, absolutely.
It may not be because the right people don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of times, yeah, it's not because the right people don't exist, it's because the right environments, are not within arm's reach, right? They don't
Right.
kind of know like where to go. Where can I go and not be judged and just feel safe? So if you're someone who's ready to meet amazing people in a more natural, relaxed environment, like Tony and I were just saying, we host
Yes.
mature mixers for singles over 40 who want just meaningful connection. So follow us so that you'll know when the next one is happening and you'll receive first notification. And if you go to sayingyesagain.com, that's our website. So
Hmm.
sayingyesagain.com, sign up for our email list. You'll be the first to be notified when the next mixer is announced and for any other upcoming events.
Yes. So if you've enjoyed this podcast, please join our community or follow us. Also subscribe. Again, sayingyesagain.com is our website. You can find us, like Lisa mentioned, on all social media platforms, iHeart, Spotify, YouTube, sayingyesagain.com. Also, please tell your friends or loved ones about our podcast. We love to continue to grow this space, right, babe?
Absolutely. We want to grow our community, but we also want to spread our message of hope.
Yes.
So let's keep saying yes again.
Let's keep saying yes again. So, without further ado, we've enjoyed you guys. Hopefully, you enjoyed this podcast this evening. We want to sprinkle as much love out there as possible, bring you guys together. So, to stay abreast of our events, please follow us on sayingyesagain.com.
Yes. And we'll see you again on the next episode.
We'll see you again. Take it easy. Bye.